What's up, guys? 3-in-1 here. I have a strategy for you guys that I have never seen anyone do before my recent video on my climb where I mentioned it. What I'm talking about is the wave pull trick, where you pull the wave from under the enemy tower into the middle of the lane. Now, I have never seen anyone do this before. It's really, really strong. Maybe some people out there know about it. Maybe it's banned in pro play and I just don't know. But this strategy is really, really strong on renekton, and I figured it out this year. So it allows me to play as aggressively as I want. And normally, when you crash a wave like this, it's bad because the wave will end up, trapped right next to the enemy tower. But what you can do is you can pull the wave out. So what I'm going to do is, as this melee dies, melee minions make this a lot harder. But as the melee dies, you see how much space is open here. I'm going to walk past the wave and draw aggro. So if you're against a champion that can punish you for this, level 2, not many champions are going to punish you. That's worth missing, at least that's worth missing CS. So you can get away with this almost every time. And if they do miss CS, like, that's great. But what I'm going to do is draw aggro, and then I'm going to auto the creep to keep aggro, because I will show you in a second. See this minion? It darts back because I didn't auto attack it. So this is going to pull the wave all the way out to almost center, and then I can play aggressive on these next two waves because I have so much room to work with and dash forward. Whereas if the wave was locked here, I wouldn't be able to, play aggressive and dash forward, and it would be much harder to pull off a dive or anything like that. Another variation you can do that I haven't done probably enough is, if you want the wave to keep pushing into you, instead of pulling the minion here, I could pull it up here, and then I can even abuse the bush depending on what matchup I'm against. That's probably very valuable versus like Gnar and Kennen, which I tend to get push against. With my E start, you actually can get push in those matchups, but being able to abuse the push against some matchups could be very valuable. And then you can actually let it just push into you, because the minions are all going to be up here. The next wave's reinforcements are going to come faster and it will still push into you. Whereas if you pull one minion like this, you're going to slow push in. This minion's going to die, and your wave will have push advantage. But you'll see you can actually keep doing this. So I will actually pull the wave again, and after these melees die, it's very easy to get aggro. Yeah, I get aggro. Sometimes, depending on how many range creeps they are, where they are, you might need an outer range creep to die to be able to do this. But you'll see I don't auto this creep. So I was testing here. I knew I needed to auto the creeps, right? But I was testing, like, if the minion goes all the way down here, do I even need to auto it? Turns out you do. It'll go all the way back. Luckily for me, the range creep stays on me. Still able to do it. And then I can look for some aggressive trades. I actually mess up pretty hard there. If I had longsword here, this guy is like super, super diveable. I probably even solo kill him here. I usually take longsword in this lane, but I was not confident in it. So we end up getting a dive. It's countered by Tristana, but I get a huge buy off of this, and then I end up diving mid, getting Shen ult mid, and then 1v2ing top on my mythic. Ends up being very, very good. So this is primarily a blue side pushing into red side strategy. I'll show you a couple more, but you can also do this. You can also do this on red side pushing into blue side. It's just harder, and I'll show you that in a little bit. You can also do this mid lane, and I'll also show you that. But yeah, I do a 2-wave crash, play very aggressive. I don't notice that this guy didn't skill W here, or it would have been even better. You see, as this creep dies, very easy to draw aggro as the creep dies. Just have to auto one time, and then the wave is right where I want it. And now, if I knew this guy had no W, which I should have, this would be very easy all in. Instead, I rely on him, like, not flashing away. But it just creates very easy solo kills, or at least like huge CS leads. Here's one versus Azo, challenger player. So I die getting creep blocked and taking aggro. Really stupid. Fucked by his Q. But I'm still in a good spot with my pickaxe buy, as long as I passed it. As long as I, manage the waves and get myself into a spot where I can actually all in with my ult. So you'll see I'm about to hit level 6. I do the wave pull. Very easy to get aggro. just in front of my range creeps. One auto, pull the wave out, get a ward. Now I'm about to hit level 6. And this is where you can blow open take matchups really hard. He wants the cannon minion. He just uses Q. So he's going to look to trade with me. And I am just going to all in because I know you just want to get the chunk with your level 6. And then I will have 100 Fury after this. And if I didn't tank 3 tower shots like a freak, I probably would be able to dive. I end up tanking a Blitzcrank gank without dying and having like a 30 CS lead from, you know, wave management, etc. So I'm in a very good spot. Game goes really well. So let me actually show you. So I have a clip versus like Solar Baka. It's just not that. I have a bunch of other clips. I do this a lot. The Solar Baka one is not as interesting. But it did put me in a really good spot. Let me show you as red side. So this is as red side. So see, the terrain situation here is a lot different. This is successful. I could show you a lot of times where I tried to do this as red side pushing into blue side, where it just doesn't work because the range creeps are usually, you know, here, like even all the way to the wall. And it's like very hard to actually get the wave past them. Now, if one of the range creeps on the edge died as the creeps were walking up, I'm sure I could draw aggro and keep it and pull it. And I have done that, you know, once kind of. I think you need to auto it a lot though. But this was very good RNG where the minions are actually all on the left side. The melee minion dies, so I get aggro as it dies, and very easy pull because of how much space I have. I don't know if you can recreate this like semi easily. Maybe you can, you know, pull the enemy waves this way and crash your wave more in the left side. I'm not sure, but you'll see this position versus Darius, versus a ghost Darius, flash ghost Darius, as he's going to hit his level 3, is so much more favorable than being up here. I lose my flash and all my HP and just barely live with 1 HP so often to playing against Darius in this pocket. Being up here is fantastic, ends up going very well for me. Here's just an example versus Lorlo that turns into something. So again, we're going to walk up to basically this crack. And we're just going to pull the minions back and we're in a great spot. Now, you're not going to be used to being in this spot, right? Like being this low, wave is just chilling here, slow pushing in. Like, do you just give up all your melees? Like you have to, right? So that's great for me. If he wants to give up all his melees and I'll just slow push this wave and the next wave, I'll get my pickaxe by. I'll deny him like, you know, 4 melees on the 2 waves and like 1 or 2 casters. That's awesome. That's fantastic. And I'll just be stacking Fury the whole time. If his jungler comes, you know, I have like 100 Fury or close to it. Instead, he looks to trade. He punish. He get his flash. Probably shouldn't have got his flash. I don't think one more auto would have killed. You just see how good of a situation it is. Now I have one more example of doing this mid lane. Now I'm very interested in how this turns out mid lane. I don't play enough mid lane to do it very often, but you'll see at 550. At 550, I crashing the wave pretty early. So all these melees are dying. But it actually doesn't matter that they're dying because she's not here. So I'm able to play in front of the wave. And there's this little pocket here. I don't know if blue side pushing into red side is better for this and easier. I struggled to do it on the other side, doing it in a bot game. But I did get it one time in a real game. Really, it's the melee minions. When there are melee minions alive and there isn't this big pocket, especially trying to do it on the other side, melee minions are very hard to pull the wave away from. But range creeps are a bit easier. So when the melees are dead, it's easier. But what I can see is like a range champion pushing into a melee champion and crashing a wave at level 2 and then pulling back the wave because they can do it much safer. I don't know exactly how drawing aggro on creeps, autoing them from like kind of far away as a range creep goes, but I would imagine if you're standing here just barely past your range champ creeps, you can still pressure autos on the enemy, you know, melee champ, but you can still pull the wave back and around, I would imagine. So I would believe this is OP as a range champion into a melee champion for early levels. But that's the strategy, guys. Has a ton of uses. You can do it in every lane. And usually as a champion that wants to punish really hard and wants to pull the wave out, you're going to have enough pressure to be able to actually pull this off without taking harassed for doing it. But let me know how this goes in your games. I'm excited to see how this turns out. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't and follow my socials. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.